Okay, good morning again. I'm Ms. Adorno. I'm MS390 test coordinator, and I'm also a teacher. And today we are going to give you some information about the state exams. So today's objectives, let's start with the end in mind. Today we are going to explain the purpose of the New York State exams. We are also going to provide you some information about all the state exams that the children take during the year. And we are going to answer your questions and address the concerns that you might have about the exams that the students take during the year.
And I just want to say, if you're watching this on YouTube, please leave your questions in the comment section, and we will answer all the questions there on the comments.
Okay, well, so first of all, the state exams, what do we do with those results once we have them? Those results serve as an academic checkup to make sure that your child is on track for the next grade level. Also, the state exam measure the progress over time, so you can see your child's year-to-year performance. And also, the state exams provide a deeper level of information by pinpointing what skills your child has mastered and what skills your child is still developing. So the teachers use the results of the state exams to see what the students can do and what they need help with in order to provide that support in class. So some information about the exams. Over the past few years, the State Education Department has made several changes to the annual 3rd to 8th grade ELA and math exams in response to the concerns of parents and teachers. The grade 3 to 8 ELA and math exams are only now 2 days. In the past, the kids had to take the ELA and the math exam for 3 days. Now they only take the exam for 2 days. And this year, again, in 2023, the test will continue to be on time, meaning that the students have as much time as they need to complete the test within the confines of the regular school day. So if the school day ends at 2:40 and the students keep working on it, they will have until the end of the day to continue working on the test. They cannot take it the next day, but if they are taking the day one, it is on time. They don't have 2 periods or 3 periods to complete it. They have the whole day, but they need to be working. If we see that they are working on it, they take a break, they take their lunch, they go to the bathroom, but they continue working. So in New York State and New York City, we administer different state assessments. We administer the English language arts assessment. We administer math assessment. We also administer an exam called the NICESLAC. And we also have a science assessment for the 8th grade. So we are going to talk a little bit about the English language arts assessment. The English language arts assessment is for grades 3 to 8. It measures the reading comprehension and writing. This year, the students are taking the English language arts test on April 19 and 20th. And all students take the test except for the kids that are new to the country. So the students who have been in the city of New York and that came from another country less than a year ago, they do not take the English test. They are exempt. But for those students who have been in the system, in the educational system of New York City for more than a year, they have to take the English language arts exam. We also have the math assessment, the mathematics assessment. It is also for grades 3 to 8. It's designed to measure math skills for each grade level. This year, the students will take the test May 2nd and 3rd. And this one, all students take it because the new students, even if they have been in New York for less than a year, they take it because they can take it in their native language. So we offer the exam in other languages as well. The third exam that we are going to talk about is called the NYSESLET, the New York State English Language Achievement Test. And this is for all grades. It's administered in the spring, starting in April. And this is for students who are identified as English language learners. If the students have been identified as English language learners, they take this assessment to measure their proficiency in English, in listening and speaking, reading and writing. So this exam, not all students take it, just the students that are identified as English language learners. And the last assessment we are going to talk about today is the 8th grade science exam. So only grades 4 and 8 take a science exam. And this is designed to measure the content and skills contained in the intermediate level science core curriculum, 5 through 8. So they have to take this exam in 4th grade to measure how much science they learn from 1st to 4th. And then in 8th grade, they take it again to measure how much scientific knowledge they have acquired from 5th to 8th grade. This year, they take the first part of the test. This test consists of 2 parts, one called the performance assessment, and that goes from May 23rd to June 2nd. And that part of the exam is a hands-on exam where the students go to a lab and they do some experiments. And then the second part of the test is a written exam. This year, that will happen June 5th. Only 8th grade students take the science exam. And again, this exam the students can take it in their native language. So we have English, but also if the students feel more comfortable in another language, they can take it in another language. So I know we always get the same question from the parents: how can I help my students, my child or the students at home with the test? So we have a few tips for you that might help them in the exams. First one, provide practice opportunities. At home, allow them to read, to do certain things at home that will help them develop skills. Teachers also send home different activities that can be done at home to help them prepare for the exams. Also, know what to expect. If you are informed, you can better help your children. So don't be afraid to ask questions about the exams and how they look and what they are supposed to do. Also, encourage good study habits and challenge critical thinking skills. So make sure the students are practicing at home, they're doing their homework, they're reading every day. So those things will help them, even though they are not directly connected with the exam, are skills that will help them at home, that you do at home, and it will help them in the test. And also, always talk to the teacher. If you don't know what to expect, if you have questions, talk to the teachers and also Mr. Duran, the parent coordinator. If you have questions, he's always open to support you. And if he doesn't have the answer, he will make sure he gets the answer for you. If you have questions, open your mic and we will answer them for you.
Ms. Adorno, what is the difference between NYSESLAT and ELA?
Okay, the difference is that ELA measures only reading and writing, and it's to see if the students have the skills, comprehension skills and writing skills in English. The NYSESLAT, on the other hand, is an exam that helps measure the progress in English of the students. So the exam is very different. The ELA exam, they read passages and they answer questions and then they write about what they read. In the NYSESLAT, the students take 4 different types of exams. They take one for speaking. So we measure if they are progressing speaking English. They also take a listening test where they listen to something and they have to answer questions, and that help us figure out if they are understanding what they hear. And they also have a reading and a writing part. So the purpose of both exams, although they are both in English, are very different. The ELA is to measure the comprehension of English language. The nicest lad is to measure the progress in the English language.
So something that I always tell the parents about the ELA test is that there is a comprehension. So an example that I could give you is that you know the story about Red Riding Hood, right? So you read Red Riding Hood, and at any moment of the in the text you will see the word strangers, but you know that the the main idea of the story is that Little Red Riding Hood shouldn't be talking to strangers. Now you have many characters. You have the grandma, you have the wolf, you have things like actions like taking the food to grandma and all of this. So the exam will try to trick you and will try to ask you, what is the main idea of the story? And it will ask you, the main idea is that Red Riding Hood is taking dinner or food to her grandma. Or the main idea is that she has to give directions or say good morning to the wolf, and or the main idea is that girls have to dress in red capes, so it will give them all of these answers. And at the end or at the beginning, at any moment, we'll say, or the main idea is that children shouldn't talk to strangers. And if the child didn't understand the story 100%, it would seem um, like the other answers could be right. If the answer is talking about the wolf and they saw the wolf or they read about the wolf on the story, it might seem like the right answer for them. But the main idea of the question is to get what is the story about, or what is the most important part of the story. That's why they have to really read the question and see what is it that they asked them, and they have to comprehend what they're reading, and that's what the trick of the test is. Another question, Miss Adorno. So why the students have to take the nicest lab, and why sometimes students take the same test over and over again every year?
Okay, the nicest lab, like I said before, is to measure the progress in English, in listening, reading, writing, and speaking. And the exam goes by levels. It has 4 levels, and until they reach the commanding level, which means that they master in the basic English language, they have to keep taking the test. So that exam, the nicest lad, if the children started in kindergarten and they were identified as students that speak another language at home, they have to take that test. And they keep taking it every year until they reach the commanding level. So some students started taking the test in elementary school, but they passed the test, or they reach. We don't like to say they passed the test. We like to say they reach the commanding level, meaning that they can listen, speak, read, and write English. So until they don't reach that commanding level, they have to keep taking the nicest lad. And they take that exam until high school. So if they don't pass or they don't reach the commanding level in middle school, when they go to high school, they will continue taking the nicest lab.
Is it true that some students think that the exam is so easy that they have a hard time doing it and they get bored, or they get, they think it's silly, and that's why sometimes, it takes them a long time to pass?
Yeah, we see that a lot. We see that a lot of students don't take it seriously because they feel, oh, I know how to speak English. So why do I have to prove that I do? But then they don't take it seriously, or when they take the exam, they realize, well, I know how to speak English, but this exam is a little bit more than just speaking English. So yeah, we have a combination of both. Some students really feel like, I know English, I don't have to prove it to anybody, and they don't take it seriously. And then they had to continue taking the nicest sled again, over and over and again every year. And yeah, we see a lot of that.
See, my next question is, some parents want to exempt their child from taking the test for whatever reason there is. What is the consequence of exempting your child from taking the test?
Well, one of the consequences is that then we don't know how the child is progressing in ELA or math. As I said before, when I talked a little bit, let me go back for a second. When I talked about the exams, we said that, or I said that we measure the reading comprehension and the writing. So if the student does not take a test, then we don't have a score for the student. We don't necessarily fail the student for not taking the test. That doesn't happen, but it's a good indicator for us to see if the student is ready to move to the next grade.
Talking about math, does my child has to read during the math test, and why?
Yes, the math exam is a reading test in math. So the students have to solve math problems, but most of the problems are written like little stories. So they had to be able to read and understand what they are reading in order to get what is the problem that they need to solve. So the math exam is not only a math exam, it's also reading in math. So the students really they need to know how to read in order to do the math well in the math test.
Yeah, like Miss Adorno was saying about the math. Math is all written. So right now, something easy like 2 + 2 will be done in a written form. So little Johnny went to the grocery store and he saw 2 phones, 2 lollipops, 2 potato chips, but he decided to buy 2 potato chips plus 2 lollipops that he had on his pocket. So when he went back to school, how many items that he had in his pocket? That is a simple 2 + 2. Little Johnny has to know exactly what he purchased and what he had in his pocket, and not concentrate on what was available at the store. The way that this problem is presented to the student, and he has to dissect the information. What is the focus of the problem, and what are they asking? So that's the math that they have to do. And also, as you notice, Ms. Adorno said that the science test was done in the 4th grade and also in the 8th grade. So what happens in the other grades? So like she said, they take the science test for the first time in the 4th grade, and then they take it in the 8th grade. And they take those 4 years of science, and they have to do that science test. Now, the science test is different from the other test because it has a written part, but also has an experiment part where they do experiments and they have to demonstrate that they know the content by doing hands-on experiment in front of the teacher. So it's a little more fun for them to do that test. It's a different kind of test. Ms. Adorno, thank you very much for giving us this information.
Sure, thank you. And I want to encourage you, parents, to always reach out to the school, to the teachers, to Mr. Duran. If you have any questions, we are here to support your child and to help you with any questions that you have. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.